Hello and welcome! Let's talk about the new ranked season. Season 6 I believe, and it should last until the 24th of March. Ranked is still the same, 7 versus 7, you win you gain a star, you lose a star. Get enough stars and you rank up. Number 1 in experience on the losing team still does not lose a star, which, by the way, is a terrible mechanic. This time ranked is tier 7 at all ranks. The rewards appear to be worse than they were before, that is, you seem to get less flags, doubloons and credits. However, we should get the new module upgrades instead, or something along those lines. So with this new season, if you have reached rank 1 in 5 ranked seasons, you will get the USS Black, which is a Fletcher class destroyer. Of course, the Flint is still also up for grabs for anybody that gets rank 1 for their 3rd time. Super League at the end will be tier 5, which is a bit weird. But to do Super League you have to be rank 1, so it doesn't really matter for most people. So, my recommendation is to play ranked, because it's fun. You also get consumable flags from it, and during the ranked period, you can get the service cost reduction flag. This means that you need to pay less credits per match you play for repair. Now let's get to the ships I would recommend for ranked. I'll go through them by class. Remember though that things might change during the season. I might be mistaken, so if you find that a certain ship that I recommend is not working out for you, switch to another ship and see if it goes better. First of all, battleships. I would recommend mainly the Scharnhorst or Gneisenau. I lean towards Gneisenau myself, but I recognize that the Scharnhorst seems to outperform the Gneisenau, and she is a very strong ship too. After these two would come the Nagato and then somewhere down the line the Colorado. In my opinion, the only battleship I don't recommend picking is the Colorado. The speed and the maneuverability of the Scharnhorst and Gneisenau are good. They also bring torpedoes for utility. Gneisenau's guns are high enough caliber that she will overmatch just the same as Nagato and Colorado. On top of that, if you do happen to meet a rare carrier, the Gneisenau's AA will be able to deal with it with ease. Oh, and you also have secondaries. My choice of battleship will be the Scharnhorst on EU and the Gneisenau on NA, because I would need to retrain my captain on EU if I wanted to use the Gneisenau. Cruisers. The strongest cruiser by far will be the Belfast. After that you get the Flint and then the Fiji. These 3 are my recommendations for cruisers. Funny that they're all light cruisers. I think the Myoko is an alright choice, and perhaps the Indianapolis is alright too, but I would still heavily recommend the Belfast, Flint and then Fiji in this order. On the Belfast you should definitely take IFHE and Concealment Expert. Those 2 skills are rather important and they will help you deal with all kinds of threats. On top of that you also have a smokescreen and radar, pretty much all you would want for ranked. The Flint also brings a strong smoke, and I also urge you to take IFHE on her. However, you also want something like AFT to get more range on her, and she just isn't as strong as the Belfast, nor does she bring radar. She's still very strong with IFHE though. And the Fiji is a lot like the Belfast, but you don't have HE, however you do get torpedoes and a heal. So those 2 things kind of make up for it. My choice of cruiser will be the Belfast. Destroyers. I would recommend the Shiratsuyu, Leningrad, Błyskawica, Sims and maybe the Mahan. I definitely don't recommend the Kiev. You see, with the way matchmaking works, if you pick a destroyer, you are expected to fill the role of a destroyer. You might be the only destroyer on the team, so you're expected to cap. Soviet destroyers tend to not have good enough concealment for that though, so you run into problems. The Leningrad is a bit different though, she has concealment. Good concealment for the tier. I think the strongest destroyer overall will be the Błyskawica or Leningrad, but I think the Shiratsuyu is going to play a very large role this time. She has 5.8 km concealment range, which is 600 meters better than the second best one, the Akatsuki. And the Shiratsuyu brings about as many torpedoes as the Akatsuki in a 10-minute period. I feel that she will be very powerful in spotting and then surprising people with 16 torpedoes. The Błyskawica will bring lots of guns, usable torpedoes and decent stealth fire. She will be fairly powerful. The Leningrad brings speed and guns, kind of like a slightly better Błyskawica in that regard. The Sims and Mahan bring lots of torpedoes and fairly high damage per minute. The reason I recommend the Sims over the Mahan is that the Sims seems to earn more experience, so if you lose, you're more likely to be number 1 in experience and thus not lose a star. My choice of destroyer will be the Shiratsuyu for the concealment and torpedoes. If that doesn't work out, then I might use the Błyskawica instead. Carriers. I do not recommend playing carriers in ranked. If you do, however, then you should probably play either the Saipan or the Hiryu. A dogfighting expert Hiryu with 222 will fare pretty decently against a Saipan that is 220. And that's the build I would recommend on the Saipan. But again, I don't recommend carriers because, well, it might work at the lower ranks, but it will probably stop working at the higher ranks. That is, you'll do fine in game, but you'll just have trouble actually getting into the game, because you will just be stuck in queue waiting for another carrier. You might have seen the video where I sat there for an hour in queue at rank 10 last season. That stuff is even worse for carriers. So I don't have a pick for carriers because I'm not going to play them, but if I did, I would play the Saipan because it's fun, although I don't actually own the ship on my EU account. So, I already mentioned my own picks, but let's go over them again. I will play as a first pick Belfast or Shiratsuyu with these commander skills and modules. And if I feel like playing a battleship on my EU account, I will play the Scharnhorst, and I'll just pick my German battleship captain. On NA, I will play the Gneisenau because it's the only tier 7 ship I have, and I seem to get along with her pretty well. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and that you will take part in Ranked. If you like this video, then like it, and I would like to thank the patrons on Patreon. Thank you very much for your continued support, Akataken, and I hope I see you guys next time.